What is going on, dads, and welcome to a special bonus episode of the Dads After Dark show, recorded on Friday, June 12th, 2020. This is John, and I'll be your host tonight, here with our guest Bryan and Dad Crossing's very own Dan. And thank you for joining us tonight for some Nintendo and Sony PlayStation 5.
They get along now?
Wow.
No, they
Crazy.
don't.
Welcome to the show, guys. How you guys doing?
Doing pretty good on this bonus episode. Really happy to be here on Dads After Dark, finally.
It's so bonusy.
Yes,
Feels.
doing great. Thank you for having us.
So we are, so let's explain. We're going to do a special episode tonight. So yesterday was the PlayStation 5 reveal, and it was very exciting. I think maybe we're all mostly Nintendo fanboys. I think maybe Bryan isn't. But, this is mostly a Nintendo podcast. Obviously, we are the Nintendo Dads After Dark. But we get excited about other things. So we wanted to talk about the PlayStation 5. We figured let's make this a little bonus podcast. My partner, Drew, is a Nintendo fanboy through and through. He has no other consoles. He plays Nintendo. So he's not here tonight, sadly. But we have you two guys here. So let's introduce. So let's find out a little bit more about you, Bryan.
Yes.
We haven't had you on a podcast. We've never heard your voice. Welcome aboard.
Yeah. I have not graced the presence of either the Nintendo Dads or Dinner Table or any of these other shows that have spun out of that show. So it's fun to finally be on one.
It's long overdue. Now you're down in Georgia, and I know you mostly because where are you?
Not quite. No, I'm in South Carolina.
Oh wow. Okay.
Almost,
I didn't know that.
almost Georgia.
I know why you attribute Georgia to me, I guess, because of my affinity for the Atlanta Braves, and you of course being a New York Mets fan, we have a natural rivalry. So yeah, that's.
We naturally hate each other, but we love each other.
Right on.
And not many people, I don't know many people that are just baseball crazies, but you are one of the few. So it's always fun. Yes. And it's kind of sad that there hasn't been baseball lately, but hopefully it's coming back soon.
Well, no baseball has meant more video games for me this year. So it's bad in one sense, but good in another. So.
Yeah, I guess so. I'll take baseball though.
Yeah.
So tell me, what is your PlayStation history?
So my PlayStation history begins with the original PlayStation, the PS1. I did not get a PlayStation 1 like right out the gates. I was several years behind in finally catching up and getting one of those, but it was because being at a friend's house, my best friend down the road, he was like half a mile away, so I rode my bike over there about every day. But he and his sister always got like the newest game systems whenever they came out, and so I got to experience it a little bit over at his house. And one day they were playing Final Fantasy VII, and that was my first time ever experiencing like an RPG game. So
wow.
It just opened my eyes to the other types of games that there were, other than the stuff that I had been playing on Super Nintendo and Sega Genesis up to that point, and so that like really sparked an interest in me to seek out, hey, I've got to go get a PlayStation. So we started looking in the classified advertisements, if you remember what those are, in the newspaper, and
Whoa.
Found somebody local who had a used PS1 for sale. So my mom drove me over there, used some money that I had saved, and bought that from them, and then picked up Final Fantasy VII from Walmart, and the rest is history. So that was my beginning into PlayStation. However, I did not continue on the track of being a PlayStation player. So PS2 came around, and I never got it. The PS3 came out. I did not get it then. I never dabbled in any of the portable handheld systems that Sony put out. So currently today I am a PS4 owner, and I'm loving it, but I had a long break where I did not see or play any PlayStation titles. So I know like there is a long history of, super gems that I missed.
Right. Was this because of the Switch?
I don't know. I guess some of it was, I dabbled in other systems too. So like the Nintendo 64 came out and I was interested in that. So, I wasn't graced to have all of the systems back in the day. It was kind of more pick and choose what could we afford, and we'll stick with that one for a while.
Right.
That, and then like during college time, I kind of broke away from video games for a little while. I was just too busy between part-time work and full-time college and girlfriend and various other things I was involved in, that there was a lull in my gaming time, so yeah.
So do you play a lot, because you have an Xbox, right?
I do, yes. I do have an Xbox One as well. So I play Switch, I play Xbox, I play PS4. I kind of just bounce all around and enjoy games. I'm not really a fanboy of any one particular platform. I just enjoy playing games. So
right, it's about the games.
Yep.
Sweet. All right, so next we have Dan.
Hey,
Cat Janitor, the Block Fort, Don.
Just all the thing. Don, yes. You can call me Don.
Lots of names. And Pursuer of Gwen. So welcome aboard.
Forever. Thank you.
So you've been pretty busy lately. You've been doing a lot of streaming and whatever, and you've been playing a lot of Nintendo 64, GameCube.
Yes, I'm a retro Nintendo guy at heart. Really am. As much as Drew is a Nintendo fanboy, I'm sure I'm right there up there with him. So that's just my passion, just collecting and getting all the old stuff I used to have, and really focusing on the obscure stuff that is never ever going to be re-released. Nobody's ever going to re-release Claymates for the Super Nintendo. So
I don't know about that.
I heard they're remastering Ribbit King.
Shut up. Shut your damn mouth. It's same developer as Clay Fighter. It's a 2D platformer. It's actually really fun. So go Google that.
I don't need to. I lived it, Dottie.
Well, there you go.
So what's your PlayStation history? I want to hear this.
Yeah, so I've actually played quite a bit of PlayStation over the years. As much of a Nintendo guy that I am, my first Nintendo console I ever owned myself was Super Nintendo. I got a Donkey Kong Country bundle for Christmas, and from that moment on, I was a Nintendo guy. Like, okay, Donkey Kong is the best, Mario's awesome, Mario RPG, Nintendo 64. My older brother, he also loved Nintendo, but he was like, you know what? Since you're getting the Nintendo stuff, I'm going to get the other stuff. So deep into the N64 era, this is kind of the same as you, Brian. We got a PlayStation. And, of course, I gravitated towards stuff like Ape Escape and Parappa the Rapper.
I love that game. And
Jammer Lammy, all the stuff that like probably should have been on a Nintendo console anyway, but, So, and he played the Final Fantasy 7s and all of that stuff. So he would like come watch me play Ocarina of Time. I'd go watch him play Final Fantasy 7. And so we both kind of dabbled in both. So it was really fun growing up in that house. We did the same thing with Sega Genesis. He bought a Sega Genesis, or he asked for Christmas or whatever. So we got the Sonic and we got the Mario in the same house. So it really diverging experiences. Didn't touch PS2 other than playing Grand Theft Auto at friends' houses. PS3 is when I really started to dig deep, because late in the Wii cycle, other than like Skyward Sword, there really wasn't a whole lot going on there that I was interested in, So I got a PS3 to sort of supplement my gaming habits, and that's where I started to play Killzone, played this really obscure platformer called, what's it called? Enslaved, Journey to the West. I think it's a Bandai game. Super love that game. Got super into, that's where I got into Borderlands and Dragon Age. And Final Fantasy 12, I think 11 or 12 was on the PS3. I forget. And
11 was the online game, right?
Yeah. So it must have been 12.
12.
Yeah. Okay. So what's that racing game where you could like make your own tracks? PS3 game, Modnation Racers. I used to play so much Modnation Racers. Y'all remember that game? No.
No, never played it.
No.
It was their answer to Mario Kart, and you could design your own kart and design your own tracks, and it was nowhere. Yeah, it was nowhere near that good, but it was really cool being able to like easily make your own tracks. Right. You could basically drive your car and it would make the track behind you. So that was really fun. And then I had a PS4 along with my Wii U because the Wii U was a dry period the entire time. Played Overwatch on that, played No Man's Sky. And I'm a huge Sucker Punch fan, like as a development team. I loved Rocket Robot on Wheels and Infamous on the PS3. So I had to get Infamous on the PS4. So that's the gist of it. I pretty much, and like, I'm not a big like Metal Gear, Gran Turismo guy, you know, that stuff just never interested me. But anything that's like, I don't know what to call it. Anything, I just say it like this. Like anything that looks like it could possibly be on a Nintendo console, like I'll play that on a Sony console. It looks like that's up my alley. So it's indicative of how I thought about this presentation too, which we'll get into.
Ooh.
Yeah. Juicy.
Interesting. All right. Well, let me delve a little bit into my PlayStation history. A lot of people that I know in my gaming group are always a little surprised to hear that I have had every PlayStation console that they've made. I'm a Nintendo fanboy through and through. That's my culture. That's my childhood. But I got my first PlayStation, and this is weird because I don't remember it, but I got my first PlayStation in college. So when I was in college, I went to Colorado State, and we were in the dorms. And my next door neighbors had gotten an N64, and I went and watched them, and they had Mario 64, and I was blown away by it. I was going through a little phase of not playing many video games because I was in school, and I loved it. But when I finally moved out of the dorms, I somehow ended up with a Sony PlayStation. I don't know how. I don't remember buying it. I probably would not have had enough money to afford it, but I had it. And I had a few games for it. I barely remember, but I know I had a PlayStation. And that was it. I don't know. I sold it or whatever. But the first time I really dove into a PlayStation was the PS2. I had a GameCube at the time. Right? Yeah. And I wanted to play DDR. I had played DDR at a friend's house, and I wanted to play DDR. So we went, I bought DDR, and I bought a PlayStation 2. And for the longest time, my PlayStation 2 really had like 4 or 5 different DDR games. And then we had like, I think it was a SSX Blur, the snowboarding game. So I didn't have many games on the PlayStation 2. And then I graduated to a PlayStation 3. I bought that ironically because I wanted to play Demon's Souls. So we'll be getting back to that one, obviously.
Yes.
That was the impetus for the PS3. And then I got a PS4 during the Wii U era because there was nothing else to play. It'll sound weird, but one of the biggest reasons I bought the PS4 was for a game called Nidhogg. We had run. Have you ever played Nidhogg?
Yes, unfortunately.
I have not played it, but I'm familiar with it. I've watched some people play it.
Okay, we were planning a Christmas party with the gaming group, and we saw Nidhogg because we were looking for like tournament games that we could play, and I just fell in love with the thing. I was like, oh my god, this is amazing. And but I'm a console gamer, not a PC gamer, and I was like, okay, Nidhogg's on PlayStation 4, and yeah, I bought the PS4 because I wanted to play Nidhogg, and obviously I wanted to play some of the other Uncharted games and whatever that I had already played on the PS3. But yeah, so I've had the PS4 since the Wii. You can thank the Wii U for me having the PS4 for the most part.
Ditto on me.
Yeah, yeah. I kind of miss the Wii U days when like new games came out every 5 months. We had so much more time then. But the portables, I love the PSP. It's still one of my favorite consoles. So many great goofy games on it. I still want to get back to playing some more of them. The Vita, I'm not a big fan. I would say the Vita is probably my least favorite Sony console. The games, I don't like the game library at all. I don't find it very comfortable. But yeah, that's been my history. So as we, prepare for the incoming generation, which includes the PS5 and the Xbox X, One X, Series X.
Just Series X.
Did y'all see that meme where it's like one Xbox, one Xbox X, one Xbox, one Xbox, one Xbox, one X, Series X box, and it's like showing you a picture of all these things. The funniest thing I've seen come out of this whole thing is that.
It is absurd what they named it. I honestly don't know what they're thinking, but we'll see.
Just call it Scarlet for crying out loud. Anyway, so this is a PlayStation podcast.
This is a PlayStation 5 podcast. So I feel like we're in our junior year of high school and we're starting to think about colleges. And, come the senior year, we need to pick and choose. And so as the holidays are approaching, it's going to be very important to pick, are we going to be picking a PlayStation 5 or a Series X? Or maybe we're just Nintendo loyalists and we're going to stick with the Switch. So we'll come back to that. I'm going to ask you guys later what your current decision would be. But let's break into this. Let's break into this presentation, shall we?
Bust it open.
Let's bust it open.
Yeah.
So, I'm just going to go through this presentation, and let's just talk about if you have any strong feelings. And the presentation started off quite oddly with a lot of PS4. We saw a kind of like a medley of PS4 games that kept going on and on. And then we started to see GTA 5 on the PS4.
Yeah.
We were minutes into this presentation, and I'm like, okay, I'm sold on the PS4, man. This thing looks great, And the first announcement.
I just love how they show this whole PS5 thing, and the first thing out of this stupid guy's mouth is, this is the biggest generational transition we've ever seen.
Yes.
And I was just like, you've got to be kidding me. You're telling me that the leap between Super Nintendo and N64 is less of a generational transition? Okay, well, I don't want to listen to anything this guy has to say because he just showed us 5 minutes of Grand Theft Auto 5.
Yeah, so. and literally, like, we know that these generational gaps are getting smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller.
Anybody with eyeballs can tell you that.
Biggest one.
Yeah.
So the first announcement was GTA 5 was coming to the PS5. As soon as they're done with it, it's going to be sometime in 2021, GTA Online. So that's going to be free. Like, everybody who has a PS5 is going to be able to play GTA Online. Have you guys? I've never really played the GTA games. They're not for me. But have you guys played it? What do you think about this announcement?
Yes, I have played Grand Theft Auto 5. I played through it on the Xbox 360, though, during its initial release. So
I'm sorry. It's just funny that you just said that, and we just got like this big announcement about it again 10 years later.
Right? I know. It's the new Skyrim. Like, it's going to be on refrigerator soon. But no, like, I thought that was a strange way to really open, this big PS5 event to show a game that old. And the only thing that I can think is that Rockstar threw big money to Sony to get that top spot, to showcase their game. And they've been successful with that particular product that, they've got the cash to fling around like that. So, I guess kudos to them, but it just seemed like a weird choice by Sony to showcase that first.
Yeah, it had to have been money, right?
Who paid who, though? Because here's the thing. This is what I see GTA Online as like the Tetris 99 now of the PlayStation 5, because you need PS Plus. That's required. And you get GTA Online. So, I mean, how is this not the Tetris 99?
That's true.
I suppose that could be.
Yeah. So that's going to come out in 2021. When that come out, it's free. Remember the Nintendo Switch, when it came out, they said the online would be paid soon. Like, I think it was like 6 months down the road. And then it ended up being like a year and 6 months down the road.
Yeah, it was free for a while.
Yeah. So I'll be interested to see when this comes out and everyone gets their free GTA.
And $1 million a month.
Oh, yeah. For PS4 owners, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's a really interesting thing.
What's the transfer rate to like American dollars in that? Like, should I invest in this? What's the deal?
Like $350? Yeah. I don't know what that's about, but I hope those people really enjoy it. Okay, so then we dive into the first game, and what I think might be the one of the more exciting announcements that came from it. We're getting a Spider-Man, not a 2, but Spider-Man Miles Morales. Now this was announced as a holiday 2020 title, and we will see holiday 2020 a lot because there is still no announced date for the PS5. So I think it's assumed anything that said holiday 2020 will be launch or maybe a couple weeks after.
Sure.
But we'll assume launch for now.
Launch window.
When they kind of announced this, it really seemed like it was going to be a sequel, which would be shocking because the game is not that old. And then there was rumors today that no, this is not a sequel. This is not a sequel. It's like a DLC expansion, and they're going to remaster it for PS5. Now Insomniac has clarified it and said it is a standalone game. And a lot of people are kind of like the Xenoblade 2 expansion, the Golden Country, Torn of the Golden Country. So this might be a lot like that, where it's just sort of a smaller package. So it still remains to be seen what we're going to get here, but
That's
exciting,
cool.
right?
I mean, they already had the engine running. Presumably they already had the PS5 thing going long before the game even launched. So it seemed like a pretty easy transition to make for them. So good on them. Not for me, but good on them.
I think, Dan, you're right, especially considering, it's within the same setting in New York. Like, they don't have to build a new world or environment map for Spider-Man Miles Morales. Most of that's already there. Sure, they've probably enhanced it. They've probably, improved textures and lighting with the ray tracing and all of that stuff. So I'm sure it's going to look miles better. Haha.
Yeah.
Nice.
But yeah, like I heard those rumors too that the game is more akin to DLC than it is a whole new game. So I don't know if it's Insomniac saving face so that their sales don't plummet based on that news, or if it is actually indeed its own standalone game. But it probably will feel in some aspects very similar to the one that we got. What was it? 2018 Spider-Man came out.
Right.
But I'm excited for it nonetheless. I was super hyped to see that, especially because I really loved that new film with Miles Morales.
Into the Spider-Verse?
Yes.
I was just going to say, I'm going to walk back something I said earlier. This totally could be for me because I'm a huge Miles Morales fan. Best Spider-Man movie. I named my 6-month-old son Miles. So this could totally be up my alley. It just, I got to see what else they got for me. Sony really has to sell me on this whole thing.
Yeah. I thought this was a great start. I haven't played the Spider-Man game, but I really do want to. And when they announced this, I was thinking like, oh, I really need to play that game. But when they kind of said this was an expansion, and I think the original game is going to be ported over to the PS5, I was like, well, I need to play that anyway. I need to get it, and now I can play the better version. So this was kind of like, when I heard the news today, I was like, this actually, even though it's not a sequel, this actually helps my odds of getting a PS5. But I do need to play that Spider-Man game for sure. So very cool. The next game they went to was Gran Turismo 7, which I think is sort of like a Sony PlayStation launch tradition. This is the ultra realistic racing game. What do you guys think about this one? Are you guys like Gran Turismo fans?
Meh.
Well, based on the history that I gave you, that I didn't dabble in any of the consoles after PS1. So that said, I did have Gran Turismo 1 and 2 on the original PlayStation. Absolutely adored those games. I'm a huge racing game fan. So those were fantastic. I have not played really many or any of them since, and even though I've had a PlayStation 4 now for a couple of years, I've not picked up I think what's it called, GT or GT Sport, just based on some reviews and some things that I've heard about it that they kind of missed the mark on where they normally land a Gran Turismo title. So I'm cautiously optimistic. It wouldn't be one I would jump out and get right away, but I'd probably have to see how it scores and what people are saying about it first. Yeah,
it doesn't have a date yet, not that I've seen. I've had a hard time tracking all of this stuff down today. It's sometimes some very confusing information, but I mean, Gran Turismo always looks great. I remember all the launches whenever I've seen it, I'm just like, oh my God, look how good that looks. And I think a lot of Gran Turismo's joy is that there's no animation going on with the cars. I mean, they can just look glossy, you know, they're not like moving too much. But like I am not one of these kind of racing fans. I like my game. I like my kart, you know, I like my dirt driving. Like I like that kind of racing action, not the super realistic stuff. They actually, when they showed the trailer for this, they like, you remember they ended it with like a minute of just footage of somebody playing Gran Turismo. It was very
I will say one thing that I'm super impressed with is the sound design in these games.
Mm-hmm.
How did they get it to just match up perfectly? Like, you know, you can't get actual car sounds to do what you needed to do at the timing you needed to do it exactly when the player wants you to do it. So it's all sort of created digitally somehow, but it sounds perfect.
Yes.
Right.
As a film nerd, I'm totally blown away by that.
Dan, this is straying away from Gran Turismo topic a little bit, but Forza Motorsport, which is the flagship racing titles that are on the Xbox series, they have some fantastic like behind the scenes how we did it sort of videos that they've posted on YouTube. Go search some of those out. I think you would learn a lot from those, and they're fascinating to watch and see how they did it.
Sweet. I'm gonna go geek out later. I love that stuff.
But yeah, just one comment before we move away from Gran Turismo. Like I thought that their showcasing of that was just a little awkward. Like you were saying, John, the just like minutes of them driving in cockpit with there's no music, there's no like editing to make it feel exciting. You know, it's just I'm driving in a car.
Here it is,
and there we go.
At that moment, I was thinking, oh, God, they're going to do this with all the games. They're just going to like extend a couple minutes of footage of each game to sort of fill this all out.
Yeah, they did that a little bit. But honestly, I thought that they were just kind of showing off like, hey, it's going to look this good during gameplay. This is not just trailers. This is gameplay footage. You know?
It just wasn't the best footage.
No, I think it wasn't varied enough. Like show some out of cockpit footage, show some like the track cameras that swirl around the cars, maybe show a little bit more the car listings, or I don't know. It just seemed a little bland to me.
Yeah, I agree. So they followed this one up with, it seemed like early on they tried to have familiar games. And so this was kind of the final part of that one, Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart. This one to me, I was the most impressed of. I mean, it is one of the more impressive games that they showed because there was a lot of like environmental damage going on, and it looked really good. Like, like if you've played older games, right? If you were to break a table, right, it would like break into like 2 or 3 like pieces, But like there was like some really good explosions here, and I'm not like a fan of Ratchet and Clank, but it certainly seemed like a game like just to like blow off some steam or something to explode some stuff off. It was the first time, honestly, in this where we're watching like live game footage where I was like, oh wow, this does feel like a huge graphical, physical improvement of what I've seen before.
I was totally. This is the first game that made me perk up, really, and for a few reasons. I'm an Insomniac fan. Jumping in on the PS3, playing the Resistance games, playing Fuse, playing Ratchet and Clank Future on the PS3. I never played Sunset Overdrive, but that game also looks right up my alley. Would love to play that at some point. But Insomniac always impresses me with what they're able to do, even with Spider-Man. Like as much as like I've never played it, but it looks really cool. What they were saying about like we've never been able to do this, but now we could basically seamlessly bring you through these portals instantly into new worlds as if you're just walking through a tunnel with like no load time or stutter. And I was like, okay, well, how is that going to look in game? And then they literally show you in game what it looks like. That was what I was impressed with. It looked really cool.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Very cool. Okay. So, next game. So now they've taken a break. So the next game we saw was Project Athia. Athia. I don't know how to pronounce it. We'll say Project Athia. Okay. There we go.
Yeah. I thought it was Athia.
Project Athia. comes on, and this was the one. I mean, this one looks like it uses the Unreal 5 engine because it looked so much like the Unreal 5 demo we saw on PlayStation 5, a month ago or so. So I wonder about, there was no release date for this one, but I wonder like if this is just a game that we're not going to see for a long while. I know Unreal 5 is not going to be ready until like late next year. So I mean, the earliest we might see a game like this is like 2022.
It certainly looks cool.
I think you're right about it being a good ways off based on the 5 seconds of gameplay we saw.
Right. Yeah.
You know, it was soaked in
like
mystery.
that demo.
You know, it did pique my interest, but it just was soaked in mystery.
Yeah,
just no idea what's going on. Yeah.
What they showed was pretty. There just wasn't much of it.
Right.
Yeah, there's nothing to sink your teeth into. Next game was also kind of a cutscene, Astray. Looks like you might be playing as a cat. Did I think right? Think you play as a cat?
Think about that. Here's why I loved this trailer. In this game, I don't even know anything about it. I'm already sold on it. Is like you don't know what's going on. You see a city full of robots. At first, you're like, "Is this cyberpunk? Is this a cyberpunk trailer?" No, because it's kind of cartoony. There's like a robot getting a haircut. What's going on? You know, and you're following this cat around. You're like, "Oh, cool." The cat's like showing us what's going on, and then you literally at the title understand. Oh no. The game is the cat. Okay, now we know what's going on. I'm sold on Stray. I want to be a random cat that jumps around a robot neighborhood. That's what I want in life.
Ever since like Goat Simulator and all those games, it just seems like we're trying to like get the weirdest scenario.
Untitled Goose Game, all that.
Yeah. Like what can we be? That's crazy. I wasn't sold on the cat meow at the end. Like. That should have been something amazing to see, and it felt a little stiff. I didn't feel like it was the future of gaming. Like I don't know. I don't know what it was. It was. I wanted a better meow out of the cat. I'm hoping they improve.
We want some teraflops on that meow. We want some ray tracing. Come on.
All I want to know is
they didn't. What you're saying, John, is they didn't meow you, did they?
No, it didn't meow me at all.
Wow. All I want to know is, will I have a litter box and can I poop in it?
Oh my gosh.
Yes. Now we're getting some Animal Crossing stuff here. This is my podcast.
It seems like that's where you save, right? You have to find the litter boxes. That's the save point. That one's coming out in 2021. They continued on. Now this is the point where you really notice Sony doesn't have a public face. They don't have a Reggie. They don't even have a Bowser. They don't have who's the Xbox guy? I forget the Xbox guy that we always see.
Phil Spencer.
Phil Spencer. They really need a face because this video was like, it was starting to go from game to game, and at this point, it was starting to get a little tiring. And I mean, at least for me anyway. They showed the controllers. They're showing this like fancy 3D stuff. It's all these balls and whatever kind of forming things and whatever. I know the controllers they're slightly different design. I know their triggers are going to have some like maybe pressure sensitivity, adaptive triggering. Yeah. But for the most part, it's the same thing. I will say from my point of view, I'll be curious to know what you guys think of the controllers. But the one thing that really annoys me about the PS4 controllers has always been like the light. Like I like the light on the controller. I like when they tie it to your character. Like when you play Tomb Raider, it matches the color on Tomb Raider and all that. But when you play a game at night, it like lights up your whole area. And it's like, I really prefer some darkness around me. And I've never figured out how to turn it off. I don't want to turn it off, but I don't want it to be so darn bright.
Just get you some duct tape, man. Just wrap it in electrical tape or something.
These controllers are too expensive, Dan. So I'm glad that they're tempering the light on the controller. That's for sure. It looks like it still has the touch screen on the front, which is, I mean, for me has always been a waste of time.
Oh man, please don't force me to use. That was the worst part of Infamous, when they forced you to use the damn touch pad thing on the PS4, which sucked.
Yeah, it's lousy. I've never had to like use it. It's like a button on Tomb Raider. It's like literally a button to bring up like your map. Yeah. But I guess it's still there. So so then they move on to a game called Returnal. This is the one with the lady with the space helmet. It definitely had some like Death Stranding vibes just from the appearance of it.
Yeah.
Anybody get turned on to this one?
I did, definitely. It to me, another game we're going to talk about later which is called Deathloop.
No, we're talking Returnal now, Dan.
No, I know. I'm just saying there was a connection between these two games because what these two games are doing is they're taking, well, I'm assuming because we didn't see any nobody talked about it, but what I'm assuming is that they're bringing roguelike elements, like this idea that you're going to die over and over and over again and restart into the story of the game. Which is a new thing that, it's a relatively new thing, people doing that. So I'm excited to see what that looks like. Just the fact that we're bringing space horror back to me is like, yes, let's do that. Let's get Dead Space back. Let's do all that stuff in space. And then so for those reasons, I'm down for Returnal.
Right. Cause this was the one that had like that Groundhog Day vibe, right?
Yeah. She's
Yes.
like, I keep dying and I can't escape. And I'm just
Right.
like, yes, all that time travel, space stuff. Horror themes, all of it. I want that.
All I could think about during it was that mediocre film Edge of Tomorrow, later renamed Live, Die, Repeat, starring Tom Cruise. Kind of the same scenario in that movie. It's kind of sci-fi-ish, and you die, you respawn, and you kind of redo the same events, but hopefully a little bit differently, so you don't die again.
Maybe they were making a game for that and they lost the license and they just called it Returnal.
Perhaps.
I'm glad they added the horror elements to this though, because it's definitely going to add some more intrigue.
Yeah,
Mystery to it.
So then we get Sackboy is back.
Super Mario 3D World Deluxe, baby.
Oh my God, it's such a ripoff.
Y'all said it. Y'all wanted it. Here it is.
Here it is.
PS5.
I thought the most interesting thing was they just went away from the Little Big Planet. I don't know if that's like a permanent thing or whatever, and they just redubbed the series Sackboy. I don't know. But that was the most noticeable thing. But yeah, I mean, it looks like Mario Odyssey or a 3D Mario or whatever. I mean, it looks kind of cool. I mean,
I don't know why they got rid of that IP though. I mean, it's a great IP. They should have just used it.
They just rebranded, I guess. I don't know. Maybe not. Maybe it's just this is like an offshoot. I don't know. But it was very noticeable. I like the very colorful title screen and all that stuff. I played Little Big Planet. My wife and we played through it one time and we had fun with it in the beginning, and then we got really bored with it by the end. And then we hit the end and we didn't try to 100% it or anything at all. So I'm not sure how excited I am. I'm really not a fan of Sackboy. I don't think he has some emoting, but I don't feel him as a character. I feel like this separation, this wall, there's something not built out about him.
There was this moment in the trailer where there's the purple girl character, and she's just staring at the screen with this blank ass stare. And I'm just like, listen, guys, we solved this problem on the GameCube. Link in Wind Waker had more expression than this PS5 character. Can we get somebody to animate something for her, please? For the love of God.
My impressions, I thought Sackboy looked absolutely adorable. But I don't have any history or knowledge of the Little Big Planet series. I know that's where he came from, but outside of that, I really know nothing of what those games were like. So I don't have like any kind of reference point, I guess, to make an opinion about Sackboy. So that said, like just seeing this little bit of a trailer, I guess, it piqued my interest for sure. It gave me vibes of like the Yoshi's Crafted World on Nintendo. Yeah. It just seemed full of charm, full of fun. So if I were to get a PS5, that's one high on my list. I think that I would look to get. Especially considering I've got a young daughter now who's starting to take an interest in watching us play some of those more cute titles that are vibrant and full of color. So
absolutely, and they will love it.
Yeah, we've got some more of those coming up for you. The best game of show, which we'll talk about later.
Well, one of the big complaints with with Sony and Xbox is that it's not a console for little kids, right? Now, luckily, the indie games come in and fill that hole a lot. Yeah. But the games that they're investing their money in tend to be for adult, serious gamers. And where Nintendo has its greatness is that it invests the money in the family-friendly games. Yeah. This is an exception on the PlayStation. I think this is like if you're going to buy a system and you wanted your kid to enjoy something, I think Sackboy Big Adventure is going to be like a no-brainer. So I'm glad it's there. Next few games, we have Destruction All Stars.
So I have a question.
Yeah.
Why does every game need to look like Fortnite now?
It did, right?
Why?
I was thinking Rocket League plus Fortnite.
Yeah, that's what it is. And here's another trailer with an like a nondescript rap song behind it for some reason.
Now you
how does
asked.
It annoyed
does it look like
It annoyed me
Fortnite?
so much. This trailer just annoyed the crap out of me. I wanted it to be over.
You're an expert. Why does it remind us of Fortnite? Because I couldn't explain to you why. But even my son said that looks like Fortnite.
Well, I'm not an expert in Fortnite at all. I've played it like 3 times with my nephew. He's brilliant at it, and I'm like jumping in the corner trying to figure out how to turn around. But to me, I got the Fortnite vibes. Not only with just how vibrant and colorful it is, but the moment it started showing characters out of car, those animated characters kind of looked like the characters you see in Fortnite doing the crazy dances and stuff like that.
Oh, right, yeah.
There's a thing in cinema that we call the uncanny valley. Are y'all familiar with the uncanny valley theory? What it means is that the closer you get to something looking realistic, like in a cartoon, though, like more off-putting it is visually. And so I feel like in Fortnite and in this Destruction All-Stars game, the characters are too realistic to be doing the goofy things they're doing. So it's like weird and off-putting, and I can't handle it. I can't do it.
It's like the dead eyes, They never get the eyes right.
And just their arms are too, I don't know, it's just weird.
Yeah, I wasn't interested in this one.
Give me
at
my
all.
short fat plumber.
Yeah. Kena Bridge of Spirits, which was a kind of cutish looking 3D game of some sort. It looks promising. We saw a little bit of footage. Not much on that one.
My notes say Pikmin action adventure. I'm sold.
That's what you got out of that?
Because she had the little black furry balls, and she was like using them to attack things. And you didn't see that part?
I don't remember every clip. I saw it. Yeah. I didn't find it particularly memorable. It looked like, this is animated well or whatever, but I didn't feel like we got too much out of it.
Most of it looked really nondescript. It just kind of looked like your normal, 3D action platformer. But I distinctly remember the little fur balls that she controlled, because you saw them kind of latch onto enemies, and then she would attack like it could freeze them, or they were following her around at one point. So gave me some slight Pikmin vibes, which made me excited.
I thought this game looked really intriguing. The art style was stunning, and I think one of the things I gravitate towards in a game is like just an excellent cinematic narrative experience, and the intro by the 2 brothers who were behind this game talked about how they had background in film and cinema, so that kind of made me think that they were going to have this really unique cinematic experience or great narrative to go along with it. So definitely piqued my interest.
Okay. Pretty good. I'm surprised, actually. I was ready to just kind of speed through that one, but looks like it's connecting. It did look very good, so I'll give it that.
My real question for this is Switch release, maybe? We don't know. Looks like it could run. I'm just saying.
I don't think anything that we saw here could run on the Switch unless... Next, I have a feeling, Dan, this is yours. Goodbye, Volcano High.
Oh, baby. Give me those anthropomorphic dinosaurs in a rock band. This is my game. Game of show. One of the games of the show. I actually really liked it.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of the games look the same after a while. You're like, okay, another 3D adventure, another big 3D world, another open world. And then it's like, oh my God, something different. And all of a sudden your brain just is like, whoa.
It's this striking hand animated, adventure game. You're in a rock band. You're graduating high school. I don't know what else is going on, but if it's an anthropomorphic dinosaur anime music game, I'm down. I'm ready. I'm sold.
It's quite the genre. Next one is a very familiar series, Oddworld Soulstorm. This is a new game, right? I'm pretty sure this is a new game, not a port.
Yeah, this is a new game.
Anything about that one? I've never been an
Nope.
Oddworld fan.
No, me neither. We need to get Nick on here. Nick's the one who's played all the Oddworld games, but I've never liked the aesthetic or the gameplay or anything in these games.
Oh, I hate it. I hate the aesthetic.
Why would you want to see these grotesque characters in HD? Just please.
Exactly. No, don't want it.
No.
Next one's a game that we've seen before, Ghostwire Tokyo. I'm not sure if we knew that this was necessarily going to be PS5 or not. I can't remember, but this is going to be a 2021 release, so it's going to be PS5 only. This is the one. I think the director was the girl that was just so goofy a couple E3s ago that everyone fell in love with. I mean, looks fine. We saw more footage of it. I'm not sure if there's anything else to say on this one.
Nah, I got nothing on it.
Nada.
Yeah. The next one really annoyed me because I couldn't read the title when it was on the screen. Jet the Far Shore.
Is that what that said?
Yes,
Yes.
it said Jet. Jett. It was very weird. It was like, just use a font I can read, please.
I have thought it said "Get the Fart Shorts," but I'm sure that wasn't it.
This one I had no interest in at all.
Yeah, no, I was bored during it.
Yeah,
They all can't be winners.
good. They can't.
They all can't be Volcano High.
They cannot. Next one was Godfall. Looked pretty good. I felt a little generic to me, but certain was very actiony.
To me, it's weird that this is Gearbox. Because, like, aren't they, like,
No,
really
no,
good
no,
at
no, no.
shooters? No,
It's
this wasn't Gearbox.
It's Gearbox Publishing. They didn't make it. They published it. Yeah.
Thank you for the clarification. 'Cause that
What does
weirded
Gearbox
me
do?
out.
Didn't they do Gears of War?
Borderlands, baby.
Borderlands.
Oh, that's right. Yes.
My game.
Okay. Then, and this was definitely the part of the show where I was like, this is going way too long. Like, we're seeing a lot of like mid-level games here, and there's something for everybody, right? Like, Dan, you're all excited about Goodbye Volcano High, whatever, but like this was like, okay, we've come down a notch from the beginning of this show. The next one was Solar Ash.
That's an indie game. It's the same dev as Hyperlight Drifter, though. So
Yeah.
You can't knock on that one specifically. I mean, that
No.
got me a little hype.
But did it need to be there? I mean, it definitely didn't seem like the future of gaming. Did it need to be in this presentation?
Whoever's publishing it made sure that it made it into this presentation.
Yeah, I guess so.
So that, I mean, probably not. Honestly, it could have had a way better showing elsewhere. But I actually was really excited that those devs are working on something new, and it looks fairly similar to Hyperlight Drifter, which is a really, really good game. So we'll see.
Right. Okay. Then we've a familiar title, Hitman 3. Is this new or is this a port? This is a new game,
It's
right?
new. Yeah.
Okay.
He said it was like part 3 of the whatever series of.
And honestly, I gotta say, like, look, I know games are violent, right? I'll play a violent game from now on or whatever, but like, I don't have much of an appetite for a game that's like, I'm gonna go into a room and kill a bunch of people, and then like the tag for this one was like,
Death is coming.
Death is coming. It was just
Yeah.
like, you know what? I have no problem murdering aliens. I have no problem shooting space people or whatever. But like I don't know, like Hitman 3 right now, I'm just like, okay, I wasn't excited for this one. But have you guys played Hitman in the past?
No.
I dabbled in one of them that was like free on Xbox for a period of time. It's not my jam. I mean, I can see why some people enjoy it, but it's just not my style.
So you've dabbled in Hitmanery, is what you're saying.
A time or two, if the money is right.
AKA free.
Yeah.
Yes.
So we get a little weird here. Astro's Playroom.
Weird?
It looks really cool. So Astro's Playroom is going to be essentially a playable demo that's going to come with all PS5s, assumably at launch, to demonstrate the various concepts on the controller. So this is, I don't want to say this is the Wii Sports of PS5.
The Nintendo Land. It's the Nintendo Land.
No, not even that, really. This is just like learning your controller and mastering your controller. I think they want everyone to kind of explore this and really become comfortable with the system.
Why was this in the presentation? Seems like a really, if it's a tutorial, like what? Why?
It looked really cool, but yeah, it's not a full game or anything like that.
Honestly, I didn't know that, John. If they said that, I missed it entirely. I thought it was just a new Astros experience, and I just come off of finishing Astrobot Rescue Mission on PSVR. My gosh, what an experience! Like, that was a just near 10, perfect 10 experience for me. So when I saw that mascot from Astro pop up again, I was instantly floored.
Cool. If I didn't vomit uncontrollably while playing VR, I would try it out. Yeah, this one, I mean, it happens a lot with these, but they didn't explain a lot of these games. There was a lot of like untold information. I mean, some of it's by design, so I'm hoping they didn't want you to think that this was like some full experience or whatever. But from everything I've read, yeah, this is just a demo.
Gotcha. Okay.
Little Devil Inside, another game that had a very unique look.
Yeah, it looks really cool to me.
That really liked it.
Yeah, I'm down with that.
It did look cool.
Mm-hmm.
It's funny, sometimes when you get a new system, it's really, like I said, it always comes down to the games. It's like this may not be the greatest looking game in the world. I mean, it looked good, but hey, like this is the kind of game people want to play.
These are the kind of games where I'm like, hey, if this is going to come out on Switch, then I'm just going to get it there. Seems like the kind of thing that would run again.
Right. Yeah. No, it's exclusive to the PS5. So
sorry. Poop. Poop in a butt.
So then we got to see Zion. NBA. This was one of the weirder ones. NBA 2K20, and it literally said it's coming out in the fall of 2020. So obviously, it's like, yeah, it'll be on PS5, but it's going to be everywhere else. But they snuck it in here. Again, I don't know why this had to be there. Zion looked, I was like, I want to see what Zion looks like, and yeah, the sweat got a little weird. I can't say I was convinced to buy a PS5 by the sweat mechanics on a basketball player, but there you go.
Fun fact, I don't have much to say about basketball or basketball games, but Zion Williamson is from my current city of Spartanburg, South Carolina.
Oh, really?
Or actually, he was born in North Carolina, but he lived here for a time, attended school here. And so, yeah, like when he kind of made it big and popular, it was kind of talk around town that Zion Williamson, he's making it big now. So
I mean, he's a meta-human, man. He's a monster
for sure.
So I look forward to seeing him just become a force in the NBA. But I have no interest in NBA 2K20. I'm an NBA Jam guy.
Sports ball.
Woo. One of the weirder games, Bug Snacks. This was actually done by the people that made Octodad, which I thought was great. Very weird. I have no interest in this, but I think some people with kids will have interest in it. What did you guys think?
Heck yeah, dude. This game's right up my alley, even though I don't know anything about it. Here's my thing, right? Like, I love Animal Crossing. I love anything with just a funky little aesthetic where you take something normal and make it weird. It gave me some it gave me some vibes akin to like Viva Pinata, which I also liked.
Yes.
And so anything like that, like weird and puzzly with just like something you've never really experienced before, I'm immediately sold. Like if you could give me a brand new experience, I'm sold. And just the just the whole, like, I don't know, the whole game, just the whole concept of it just made me giggle the whole time. So this was definitely one of the games of show for me.
I just have two words about Bug Snacks. Weenie hands. That's all I need. Weenie hands.
I think we can move on right from there.
Beautiful transition.
Demon Souls No, this is not a remaster. This is a remake. This is built from scratch. So this throws away the code base. The Demon Soul remake, and I didn't know this until today, but the original Demon Souls, which is the reason I got a PS3, was an exclusive to the PS3. So this is an exclusive to the PS5. I didn't know that at all. I guess Dark Souls went across the consoles, but Bloodborne and Demon Souls have been exclusive to Sony. So
I don't
awesome
know the
looking.
story. Yeah, it looks really good. I don't know the story, but there's some sketchiness about like the devs of Demon Souls or the director doing Dark Souls instead or something. I don't remember the whole story. Either of you know that story? There's a story behind it.
I don't know
do
the
not.
history behind it.
Yeah. Google it. Somebody go, if you're listening, go Google it, the history of the development of Demon Souls, because it's very interesting, even though I don't remember what it is.
I remember when Dark Souls came out, they were like saying, like, I remember them saying, like, it's not related to Demon Souls and it was going to be different. And then it came out and it was like, this is the same thing. So it was always very confusing. The original Demon Souls doesn't hold up well. If you go to play it like now, you would think that it holds up well. It's a PS3 game, but it doesn't. It doesn't. There's lots of differences between the Dark Souls games, and so I'm kind of glad about this remaster, but like this remake, but it's not gonna feel like the original game, and so I don't know. It's kind of like Final Fantasy VII remake, right? Final Fantasy VII remake, by all accounts, was great. I know Brian loved it, but it doesn't feel like Final Fantasy VII. It's a whole new game, so you know, it's like, yeah, I love Demon Souls, but it doesn't mean I'll love this one.
Sure.
I don't know. That funny story though. I was on a conference call at the time. I had a meeting and I had to interrupt. So I had it on mute and I was watching it and I saw like the opening scene where the bird or the whatever that is, the dragon is like holding the dead guy and he's swinging. And my brain wasn't able to figure out what I was looking at, but I was like, God, I've seen that before. Where have I seen the thing fly into the screen with the dead guy? It did not occur to me. And it wasn't until the very end I was barely paying attention and it showed Demon Souls and I was like, oh my God, that's exactly where it's from. So that was the first moment in this where I like kind of shouted. I was like, oh, like I was really excited about it. Although in hindsight now, I'm not super excited about it, but that was an exciting moment for me. Short-lived. All right, Dan, Deathloop. Let's hear it.
Deathloop. That's right, man. Dude, I'm hyped for this game. This is another one of those games that just the story itself lends its mechanics to like a roguelike type situation. It also gave me some heavy Borderlands vibes, so I'm already sold. Just art style wise.
This is Bethesda, right?
Yeah, it's Bethesda.
Okay.
So, you know, but it's not a very Bethesda looking game. You know what I mean? It's not your typical like big open RPG type, you know, shooter. It looks like a smaller experience, like a smaller narrative experience, which is not something that they're really akin to doing. So I think it's like a Bethesda published deal and not necessarily like their development team doing it. But it just kind of really piqued my interest, just the story of everything and the whole like, you know, he's like trapped in a prison where he's dying over and over again and he's trying to escape. And that's like the game of it is you trying to escape this prison where other prisoners are trying to kill you. And so speaking of death and killing, I actually kind of like doing that in video games. I don't know, go figure. Can't do it in real life. So,
well, this is a timed exclusive for the PS5. So if you want to get in on the Deathloop, you're going to need a PS5.
Yeah, we'll see. I'll give you my verdict at the end.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, next one of the weirder trailers I think in the whole show. Very slow reveal until the very end. Resident Evil 8 Village. And let me point out, this game is named Village just because it's a VIII, which I think is one of the weirder things I've seen in a while. Because there's no way they call this game, let's call it Resident Evil 8 Village. And then they're like, oh my God, we can do the letters, you know?
Yeah.
So, because they did that with, I guess it was 7, right?
Yes.
They like showed the orange letters right in there. So I'm already thinking about like what Resident Evil 9 is going to be called, because there's going to be an I and an X, you know? So it's like, start making your picks.
Resident Evil Dicks.
I'm not mad. This one will be
John,
cool.
I'm not mad
at that.
Yeah, I'm not mad at them for doing that. I mean, Village isn't like the weirdest word to put into the title of your video game, especially since it kind of expands on what they did with 7, which took place in one giant house, right?
Mm-hmm.
For the most part. So if you get to like go outside the houses now and go to different houses, the word village lends itself, you know? So I'm not mad at them for it. It's cool they're keeping the same aesthetic, which is an aesthetic that everybody likes. So I'm not mad at them.
Are most of the Resident Evil games like their own standalone story, or do they tie together?
Whew, that's a big question that I don't want to answer.
I think they're pretty standalone, but they have some like characters and storylines that kind of go. But you can play them all.
Stories themselves are standalone, but it's all kind of the same universe.
Mm-hmm. Gotcha.
Sort of. I don't know how the new ones tie in. I know that like up through 6, where they were all the same universe.
Gotcha.
Yeah, you don't have to play 1 through 7 to enjoy this.
No.
Well, horror genre is not really my jam, so it's not one I'll be looking towards. So I was just curious.
Yeah. I tried playing Resident Evil 1 on Switch like a few months ago, and I like rage quit that thing. And I don't like I don't like the early games. I'll start with 4, thanks.
Oh, yeah. 4 still holds up.
Yeah. Oh, still. I'm still tempted. It's gotten some big, deep sales, and I'm like, I should grab that. All right. We're rounding down now. Pragmata. Does anyone remember what Pragmata was?
Nope.
Pop quiz.
It looked cool. It had the weird dude in like the spacesuit with no glass.
Oh, yes.
And then
with the little blonde-haired girl, yeah.
Yeah,
right.
And like I guess he's breaking some kind of dimensional rift or traveling through time or something to save her from something. And then there's like a satellite tries to crash into the planet, and he activates the spider web bubble, and now they're on the moon. So take that. This is the Death Stranding of Next Generation as well.
Yeah. This one's coming out in 2022 as well, so we don't have to really discuss it for a long time.
Yeah, a little mysterious, but I'd like to see more.
Okay. So as I'm going through this presentation, I'm thinking like they're going to end this presentation with a big game or the console reveal. And this is where the console reveal came about. So, Dan, Bryan, what do you think about the look of the PS5?
Well, are you forgetting Horizon?
No, I'm not. That came after.
Oh, did it?
Spoiler.
Oops, my bad.
Yeah, they revealed the console first.
Okay. What do I think of the design? Is that what you said?
Yeah. Like, do you see do you see something like that and go, oh, I want that on my entertainment center. I want that on my shelf. I like, what do you think about it?
Well, I honestly like it. It's different. It's unique, but it's not like, to me, in my opinion, it's not like outlandishly designed. You know, it's got some nice lines, some nice curves. I like the mix of the black and the white. I think I like it better standing based on, the comparisons that I've seen to it laying down, but my entertainment center does not, fit a standing console, so it would have to go up on top, kind of breaking the flow of how I have my games currently. But overall, I think the new look of it is pretty cool.
I'm honestly shocked that it can sit horizontal. I didn't even know until like a day later. It was like, oh my God, look at this thing. Like it's almost like one of the engineers just turned it on its side and go, okay, let's make that an option. It's just kind of weird.
Yeah.
What do you think about it, Dan?
I have one thing to say about this. That is Bat Wii. It's the Bat Wii. That's what it is. It's a Wii dressed up like a Batman.
You know what it reminds me of is the that concert hall in Australia, the famous Sydney. Yeah. Yep. Like it just gives total vibes of that. I have to say, honestly, I don't like it.
No, I'm not a fan at all. I think it looks goofy and weird, and the whole suspenders on the controller thing is weird. And Microsoft is doing the right thing by giving you a giant black box. Honestly, stop. Don't try to be Nintendo. Only Nintendo can be Nintendo, and just make your black box. Okay.
Right. I agree. You're kind of stuck in this white aesthetic, and there's no way to escape it. I mean, the Xbox definitely is like, it's just utilitarian. It looks like a server, But I just like it. I just like it better. I almost like don't put in the effort. This one, the white was like when the Wii came out, white was like a big color. Apple was really pushing white, and then we just went away. I mean, Nintendo almost immediately made a black Wii, and then remember the white Wii U lasted for a little bit, and then that was gone.
Yeah, I still have my white Wii U. I
Do
still
you
get it
really?
confused. I still get it confused between my Wii and my Wii U all the time. Just I look at them and I'm like, y'all are the same fucking thing.
Those got pretty rare too. They discontinued them. So yeah, hold on to your white Wii, Dan.
Man, I never let go of my white Wii.
Never let go. All right, then the ending: Horizon Zero Dawn 2, Forbidden West. Have either of you guys played Horizon Zero Dawn?
Man, I would love to play Horizon Zero Dawn, but those games just keep launching next to big Nintendo games. So, yeesh. If I swear to God,
It's only the one
Breath of the
game.
Wild 2 comes out. No, they had an expansion that came out the same time as
really? Because it came out like the
Odyssey or
same.
something.
Didn't it come out the same day as Breath of the Wild, or was it like the same week?
I think the next week or the week before or something like
Yeah,
that. So
yeah.
if Breath of the Wild 2 comes out alongside this, I'm sorry, I'm not gonna touch it.
Entirely possible.
Yeah, I would
Yeah.
love to play it. It looks cool.
I have played probably 5 hours of Horizon Zero Dawn. I got it, started it, and then something took me away. I cannot remember what it was. It may have been Breath of the Wild, but from what I played, I super enjoyed it, and it's quickly climbing my backlog list as to maybe one that I'll get to next. It's either that or one other one that I'll get to next, but I'm excited for it.
This is definitely the game where we've had arguments, and like the dumb arguments, right? Where it's like, this is better than Breath of the Wild. No, who cares? It doesn't matter. But I like watched a Let's Play of it at one point, and I was like scanning through the first hour, and I was like completely bored by it. But I've only heard great things about playing through this game. I wouldn't mind trying it someday. So obviously there was going to be a sequel. We don't know quite yet when we're going to see it. There's no date for it. But obviously a really good game to end the presentation with.
Yeah.
They bookended it really well. Like Spider-Man in the beginning, Horizon Zero Dawn in the middle. And it helps you kind of forget or forget kind of what was in the middle. There was a lot of games in this presentation. I thought it ran too long. But let me go over real quick. Because there's so many games and there's lots less information, I've kind of looked through a lot. This is what, based on the games, this is like the order of the games that are coming out. NBA 2K20 is coming out in the fall. It's probably going to come out before the PS5, I'm guessing. It looks like Spider-Man Miles Morales, Jet, The Far Shore, Bugsnax, Deathloop, and Godfall are going to be the launch titles, which would put it at 5. Now, all of those games said that they were holiday 2020, okay? And we know the system's coming out holiday 2020. It doesn't mean they'll all be available at launch, but what do you think about that for a set of launch titles? And I'll say it again. Spider-Man, Miles Morales, Jet, The Far Shore, Bugsnax, Deathloop, Godfall.
It's certainly varying, and there's a lot of, 2 of my top games in this whole list are made it to the launch lineup. So I'm already feeling compelled to buy day one just based on that. Plus Spider-Man, if they do an HD like a 4K version of Spider-Man, the original Spider-Man game, that's another one to pick up. To me, it feels really solid, honestly.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
What do you think about Brian?
Well, the only one of those launch window titles that really piques my interest is Spider-Man Miles Morales. Jet was forgettable during its little reveal. Maybe Bugsnax, but again,
You and me, Brian, Bugsnax Online. Do it. We'll start a Bugsnax league.
You guys, I gotta say, Bugsnax looks stupid. It really does look stupid. I don't know.
I know, but
I don't know if
that's why
you're
it's so
trolling
good.
me or what. There is
it's-
no chance in hell I'm playing Bugsnax.
It's good because it's stupid.
Dan, that kind of fits the obscure games that you're always after, like the Ribbit Kings.
That's my jam.
It's not one I'm looking to rush out to buy, but it does look probably second most interesting of those 5 that are
Not only that,
are
but let
launch
me remind
window.
you guys, this is the only game in the whole thing, besides I think Deathloop, that had its own theme song. Okay, so just put that out there.
I'm not impressed by the launch lineup. I mean, I think Deathloop will probably be a quality game. Godfall looked like it'll be a quality game. Spider-Man, I'm sure will be a quality game. But I'm not like, it doesn't sway me. And it helps that I haven't played the original Spider-Man. I'm perfectly happy playing Spider-Man on PS4. I don't need to play it on a PS5. But if you did play it on PS4 and loved it, then I can see wanting to get expansion. It just feels weird because, like, when I played Xenoblade, I loved Xenoblade. And then when they came out the expansion, I was like, oh, cool, more Xenoblade. But, you know, it's like, I don't know if that, like, wins me over on, like, a launch day. But I can definitely see that's definitely going to be a draw for people that really want to get in and play that game immediately. So I think Spider-Man Miles Morales is a good launch title. I just feel like there needs to be something else there. But then again, a lot of launches are lame recently. I mean, launches really aren't. These games take years to make. They can't make them specifically for that console because they don't exist in the beginning of development. There's usually you're usually porting a PS4 game to PS5, hoping you'll, you know, how many people bought Super Bomberman R on the Switch because it was just one of the few games available?
Yeah, for me, it was the Breath of the Wild and Snipper Clips, and that was it for a long time.
Right. Yeah, there was a lot of success with that game. I mean, I Am Setsuna. I never would have bought I Am Setsuna, but it was a launch title. And I was like, all right, I'll pick that up. I mean, I think it depends. These things are always subjective. I think you definitely, like Dan, you definitely give good reasons, like, you know, Deathloop, Spider-Man, solid, you know, Bug Snacks, whatever, good to go. It certainly doesn't draw me in. I know I'm not getting a PS5 on day one. Yeah, I mean, those are the launch titles. Hitman 3 is scheduled to come January 2021. Now, I'm going to assume that the PlayStation 5 is going to come out mid-November because the PS4 and the PS3 both came out mid-November.
It's a good assessment.
Gotta be.
Yep.
So, assuming that, yeah, and you don't see a lot of big games come out in December. I don't know what it is, like Christmas budgets are blown or what. Yeah, but it's, you just, when they say holiday, it's like often like November. It's just they want to push up against those holiday timelines. Things are already
crazy.
They
want you to pick it up on Black Friday.
Yeah. So Hitman 3 is supposed to come January 2021, so that's going to come soon after launch. And then the only other games we know are going to be like GTA Online, Stray, Resident Evil 8, Goodbye Volcano High, and Ghostwire Tokyo and Solar Ash. I'm hoping it's Solar Ash. I have Solder Ash, and I think I just typoed it, but whichever.
I think it's Solar Ash.
Those are the 2021 games that we know of. There was a bunch of games that didn't have a date. I'm sure some of these will hit in 2021, but they didn't advertise it. So that looks like the early, good set of games. I mean, through the first year and a couple months. And I'm sure there'll be more announced. And I'm sure there'll be tons of ports. So I'm sure we'll get those announcements coming up.
Definitive editions and whatnot.
Yes. And I'm not against those. I mean, like, sure. If you didn't have a PS4, then a PS5 with it. Like I said, with Spider-Man, I would totally grab Spider-Man, say, hey, cool. I didn't get it for PS4. I got it here. So,
yeah.
So that's what the launch lineup looks like. So after watching that presentation now, what do you guys think? Dan, we'll start with you. What was your hype level going in? What is your hype level coming out? What did you think of it?
Hype level going in was, low. I knew going into this that there's no way I'm buying a PS5. I am more than satisfied with what the Nintendo Switch and my PC give me to play. That's where I was going in. Mm-hmm. I was honestly surprised at how many games. I mean, I go into these PS5 and Xbox Series WZYX presentations with predisposed to be able to think like, okay, this is going to be shooters and sports games and racing games. And unless the shooter is something really unique or cool, I'm really not going to be that interested. But having as many like really interesting games to look at, Ratchet and Clank, Stray, we talked about Volcano High, Solar Ash, Bug Snacks, Deathloop, it raised my hype level. I am now more excited for PS5 than I was going into the presentation. However, this is a PS5 talk, but I have to bring Nintendo into it. We have absolutely jack shit of news from Nintendo about what's going on.
Got a new Paper Mario trailer.
Yeah, in July. That's July. What is coming out in August, September, October, November, December, January for
God,
Nintendo?
I hope Bayonetta 3, man.
As soon as we know what Nintendo has, that will determine whether a PS5 enters my household. Because this could be another Wii U season where it's like, you know what? We had all this stuff planned. COVID hit. Everything got pushed to 2021. 2021 is going to be amazing, but there's nothing to play through Christmas. Highly unlikely. Yeah. Highly, highly unlikely. I'm sure Breath of the Wild 2 is done.
So you're saying your day one-ness really rests on what the Switch offers for the rest of the year. It
really does. I'm just like Drew, I'm first and foremost a Nintendo player. I'm happy to buy a PlayStation. I've done it in the past. There's some really great games I'd love to play. Honestly, after this lineup, I'm probably more likely to buy a cheap-ass PS4 when the PS5 comes out. Get a bunch of used games I never played.
Just the season.
If I'm still unemployed at that point, I'll have plenty of time to do that. So, so that's kind of where I'm at. I need to see what Nintendo has for me.
Okay.
Yeah, but my hype level is.
It is, and then these are always great seasons. The PS4, people start wanting to sell them used and all that stuff. So I don't argue with there. Plenty of great games on the PS4 waiting for you. All right, Brian, let's hear it.
Yes, so going in, my hype level was pretty high. I feed off the hype of others, so everybody who was getting excited about it on Twitter and social media leading up to the reveal, I was kind of riding that wave of energy that everybody was bringing to that, and so I was excited to sit down and see it. And I told my wife that Sony's doing this big reveal, and I'd like to watch it tonight, and she usually sits down and watches those with me, or now I guess in this case that she has her own Switch and Animal Crossing, she played that while she, I had the big PS5 reveal on in the background for her. So I was really, really excited going in, and I think they started it off right. Well, I guess aside from the GTA 5 stuff, as we talked about, that was a little weird to start it off with, but they recovered quickly. They recovered quickly with Spider-Man Miles Morales, followed up by a childhood favorite of franchise of mine, Gran Turismo 7. That I'm excited for Gran Turismo 7. However, like I said earlier, the trailer that they showed for that was a little lackluster. I think it will be better than what they showed. So. And then Ratchet and Clank, which I have never played, any of those games either, but that one just seemed full of charm, a lot of fun. So the hype stayed high early on, and then it really tapered off in the middle once we got through, some of those maybe mid-tier games that weren't as exciting or maybe were a little more confusing or abstract. And then I guess getting towards the end, like, nothing else really jumps out other than Horizon at the very end as being something that I'm excited for. So, and then what we've talked about just a few minutes ago with the launch window titles, there wasn't much in there but Spider-Man for me. So, evaluating it overall, I don't know that I'm a day one purchaser of PS5. I'd probably have to wait, not only for pricing, that's going to factor in big time, because I'm not sure that they're going to get the price down to some of these levels that people are thinking. I used to think $499. I'm not sure that they're going to get it down that low.
Ooh, really?
Yeah.
You think it's going to be more expensive than $500?
I do.
Dang.
I do.
What one hint that it could be above 500, and I'm not going to guarantee that it's above 500, is that on day one, there's going to be a digital only version of the console without a disc drive.
Yeah.
Right? And you know what that says to me? Yes, that says to me that they're going to try to pass it off. Let's just say 600. Okay. Mm-hmm. It may not be, but let's say $600. Mm-hmm. They're going to put that console out, and then they're going to offer the cheaper digital version so they can say, and maybe that digital version is, maybe it's 500, maybe it's 550, maybe it's 525, but maybe it's 500. Mm-hmm. Let's say it's $500. And then they pass it off and said, well, see, it's really not $600 because you can buy it for $500. Because remember, the Wii U did that. You know, they had the cheaper console in the beginning, and it was like, well, you know, it's $350, but you can spend $300 and be okay.
Wow. I swear, if this thing is more than $400, there is zero chance I'm buying this thing day one. I don't care what. Nintendo could launch nothing in the next 6 months, and there's no way I'm buying this thing for $500.
I think 500 minimum. I honestly really feel it's going to be I think 500 might be it. And that digital version might be like $450.
What's the current MSRP for a PS4 Pro?
$399.
Oh God, really?
And you're right. It's going to be $500 fucking dollars.
At least.
I'm going to have to drop half a bill for this damn thing.
And how much do you think those controllers are going to cost, like separately too?
Yeah.
They're going to be more expensive.
Do you think Sony's going to do their own like elite controller type thing like Microsoft, or no? Do you think they don't care? Yeah.
Later down the road, yeah. They'll let you buy they'll let you buy an extra controller for like $70, and then like maybe like 6 months, a year later, you'll see here's the elite one.
Those are pro controller prices. Those are Switch Pro controller prices right there.
That's what they are. That's what they cost.
So Sony currently license out to the other companies like Scuf and Astro to make their pro level controllers. They don't make them themselves, but
that makes sense. Yeah.
So they may continue that route.
So
something that I don't think we touched on, and I don't know if you guys saw this in any of the news talk as well, but I heard some rumblings about game prices jumping to maybe the $69.99 price point for next gen. Did anybody else hear or see anything about that?
I heard that a long time ago, not recently.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised.
No, I wouldn't be either.
It would be very unfortunate.
Especially considering the things that they're doing with, or at least that I know Xbox is doing. I think Sony might be doing something similar, but with the, what are they calling it? The feature where you buy it on Xbox One and you get it for free on Series X whenever that comes out. Whatever that
I forget what they're calling that
feature is called, but like that may be kind of building in the cost. You know, buy it for $70. But you get it now, and next year when you can finally get the Series X, you will automatically get the newest, best version of it.
Well, and Microsoft is even doing the thing with the X Pro, whatever their big fat current console is called, where you buy one now, and they're like, yeah, you buy this now, and we'll give you your money back towards the cost of a Series X or whatever when it comes out.
I think like if you do their leasing program, which I don't know is open still. I think that might have been a closed trial kind of thing.
Really?
Somebody probably correct me on that, but
Sony's not doing anything like that, so
yeah.
But I honestly would not be surprised if games are $70, or at least next gen games. You know, Switch seems to be stuck at the $59.99 price point for now, which is good.
Yeah, that's just going to make the console purchase a much harder pill to swallow if the games are also increasing.
I wouldn't be shocked, but I would be saddened if they took that jump to
this
70.
May be now. I don't want to speak too soon, but this may be another opportunity for digital sales to start to become the way to buy things. You know, because if you have to go to a store and buy your physical game for $70. You know, but they're constantly putting their stuff on sale on their digital stores like Nintendo does. Then, you know, it's kind of like, all right, well, here's another nail in the coffin of retail. Which kind of
I am sure GameStop shit their pants when they saw the digital only version on day one of this thing.
Yeah,
and considering the price and that it will be cheaper, a lot of people are going to go for that digital version.
I don't know that GameStop has pants to shit in at this point.
No, they do. They do. They got them all from ThinkGeek.
Let's say this about. So here's my impression. First of all, spoiler alert, before this presentation, I have said that the PS5 will be the first PlayStation console I do not buy, and the reason why I've said that, not based on seeing anything, obviously, is I really don't like the way Sony has behaved the last couple of years. They have a huge base of customers, and they like took their E3 ball and went home. They put their feet in the mud, whatever the expression is, for crossplay. They just didn't play well, and I don't know why. They're the leaders. Just you're selling consoles hands over fist. So they don't have a public face. There's something about it, and I've seen Microsoft over the last couple of years put together really good conferences. You can really see they struggle, and I make fun of Xbox One all the time. The Switch has already bypassed their lifetime sales, and they had years of a head start. Xbox One, years of a head start, and they even had 2 hardware iterations, and the Switch has already outsold it by almost 10 million.
They just never had the games.
They never had the exclusives. No. It was they had when I think of the exclusives for Xbox, I think Cuphead, I think Ori. And I think, maybe Killer Instinct,
Forza,
right?
Forza.
And Forza. But, I don't know how big as system sellers even those games are.
Halo.
Yeah, Halo definitely for sure.
But the real reason to buy an Xbox these days, Game Pass.
Yeah, and that's exactly it.
Still in the back of my mind.
Absolutely.
Okay,
right.
How much is the Xbox Series X going to be, and what's the value proposition for Game Pass?
And that was a big part of my decision, which is I think if I go in next generation, it's going to be Xbox Series X, despite the weird name, because of Game Pass. And, I today got my first ever Xbox, brand new. I got an Xbox One X. I got the Cyberpunk edition because I don't know. I wasn't even into Cyberpunk. And then I played The Witcher 3, and then I was like, oh, these are the same people. And I was like, my hype level went from 0 to woo,
Well,
CD Projekt Red is an incredible developer. They didn't put any DRM on their game on PC, and so they just won over the hearts of all PC gamers instantly by doing that,
Right.
And they could do it because they're an indie dev. They don't care.
And The Witcher 3 is just amazing. I mean, it's the first really big open world game where it's just the world was so rich, and it was just fun to do every side quest in that game. It's just so much fun. So yeah, I was like, I don't know about Cyberpunk. I don't know if I'll like Cyberpunk. It's a different aesthetic, but when they announced the limited edition console, I was like, I'm getting an Xbox One. Literally, if I couldn't get one, and I didn't think I was gonna be able to get one, I wouldn't have bought an Xbox One, right? But Game Pass is what is drawing me to Xbox. And today I had my first Game Pass experience. I got a month for free, and I went on, and I was looking at these games, and I was like, holy shit. There's all these games that I bought for Switch that I haven't played before, and there they are. So I've downloaded Bloodstained because I want a Xbox version of it. Mm-hmm. Rime. I downloaded Rime because the Switch version was so broken, I didn't want to play it. So I'm going to play through Rime. I downloaded Witcher 3, of course. Just a bunch of stuff. Alien Isolation, just a bunch of games that I didn't want to get on the Switch or whatever. And all of it is free, man. It's it's great. So it's a lot like Netflix. If it goes away, then you can't play it anymore. Fine. Mm-hmm. But then they have deals that you can buy these games for big discounts.
That's right.
Yeah.
I don't know how Microsoft makes money on this, but here's my big question. And I'll say for the PS5 presentation, I think they did a good job with the games. I think, Spider-Man, Horizon Zero Dawn. Look, Horizon Zero Dawn might be 2 years away. I don't know when it's going to come out. But they did a really good job with Demon Souls and whatever. It wasn't great. It was good. If Spider-Man wasn't there, I don't know if the whole presentation is really great. But they did a really good job with it.
To your point too, sure. I want to know how some of these games are not exclusive. Some of them are timed exclusive.
A lot of timed exclusives.
Some of them could totally run on Switch very easily. The games that I'm excied about, I could see those as Switch ports.
Oh, definitely.
As easily. So
and there's a lot of times. There's not that many exclusives. They're definitely. Obviously Sackboy, Ratchet and Clank's exclusive, Gran Turismo, Horizon Zero Dawn. So a lot of the big games are Demon Souls remake for sure. But the rest of the games are all mostly just timed exclusives, and
right.
nothing great. But so the presentation didn't sway me over. But here's the question: do you think Sony is going to come up with their own Game Pass?
They kind of already have one, but it sucks. PlayStation Now,
is that the
right?
Now?
PlayStation Now,
yeah. you can already sort of do this, but if your internet doesn't work very well, it's not great.
Because isn't that the cloud? That's the cloud system, right?
How hard would it be for them to say, hey, now with PlayStation Now, you don't need the cloud. You can download the game and yada yada. Like, how easy would it how easy would it be for them to flick that switch? I don't know.
I don't know.
I mean, potentially worth it considering how much Game Pass is part of the conversation.
How does Microsoft, how are they able to offer Game Pass? Because if you think about it, these are a bunch of games. I mean, look, of all the games that I downloaded today, I wouldn't have bought them all. Okay, I wouldn't have bought Bloodstained because I already played it on the Switch, but I loved it and I want to see better graphics, so I wouldn't have bought it. So it doesn't hurt them. But like, there's games on there I easily would have bought. And then on top of all that, think about like the developer themselves, right? So think about like Celeste was on Game Pass like a few months ago. How many people were like, oh, cool, I'm not going to buy this game on my Switch because I have it for free on my Xbox, right? They lose sales on other platforms because of it. So I don't know what Microsoft pays these developers for them to be a part of this Game Pass plan. I'm sure they give them, here's a bunch of money, and it doesn't matter what you sell, you got this. And for indies, it's probably great because there are a lot of indie games on there. But like, wow. And then they offer the deals that they offer, the discounts they offer on these games. I mean, they're pretty significant discounts. So
I think for indie games, it makes sense to be part of a service like this because you want people talking about your game.
Right.
You know? Microsoft offering its first party games day one on Game Pass blows my mind.
Dude, I would have bought Ori 2 today, and I didn't. I get it for free. It's wow. You know?
When Halo Infinite?
Yes, I think.
Yeah, when Halo Infinite was day one Game Pass, it's like, okay, what? Like, how? Like what? Like, no.
And you're paying $10 a month. So for if you want to say that's a $70 game, we're going to go with a $70 price point. That's 7 months. I mean, like you pay for Game Pass for a game you would have paid $70 for. You get 7 months of Game Pass. So not only are you paying that $70, but you're getting $70 of Game Pass where you're not going to buy any of these other games. Red Dead Redemption 2, like all these games that are sitting there that you can play through. I definitely want, and one thing I noticed, I've always wanted to play Life is Strange, and all of the Life is Strange Season 2 is on Game Pass, but none of Life is Strange Season 1. So like maybe that's part of it. Like, oh, here's 2. Oh, you want to buy 1? It's available on the store. It's a pretty great thing. I do not plan on buying any physical games for my Xbox One X. I'm going to have Game Pass, and that's going to be most of my games. And then there's a selection of games I might buy digitally. I'm going to buy all the Tomb Raider games again because I just love it. But it's all going to be digital. I'm not going to own any physical. And so I'm looking at the Series X the same way. I'm never going to buy a physical game for the system. So I will say after watching the PS5 presentation, I'm not any more excited to get a PlayStation 5. There's definitely going to be some games I would have liked to maybe play, maybe Demon Souls, but really nothing else. Sackboy was cool, but I'm not really crazy about it at all. And all these other games, games like Ghostwire Tokyo, they're the kind of games that you look at and you go, that looks really good. But then there's like 50 other games just like it on PS5 and Xbox. So you're not going to miss it. You're not going to be like, I have to play that one. Hitman 3, all those games. There's so many of them. So I didn't see anything that really was like, gotta play that one. I think that's what Sony was kind of lacking there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Agreed.
All right. I'm going to ask you guys just a few questions as we round this out. And thanks, Bryan, for staying up quite late.
Absolutely.
I want to know, Dan, is this the biggest generational transition in console history?
Well, according to Sony, it is.
According to Jim Ryan, yeah.
Are you trolling me, or is this a real question? Do you want me
to
talk
I know you talked about it before, but I had this question waiting for you.
No, no. Listen, okay, listen. Like I'm gonna tell you what the biggest generational transitions were in gaming, and it's per console, right? It's like every generation, they're kind of the same, but really you have the N64, right? Our first venture into real 3D gaming, Mario 64, analog stick, like started it all. Boom. The Wii which, laugh at it
Yes.
now, but motion controls still plague us today. I can play Overwatch on my Switch and use motion controls, and it's amazing. And HD. That's it.
And that was a big complaint I had with it. Was these are better graphics, better sound, slightly better controller, but like this doesn't feel like the future. There's no. I mean, we know about cloud gaming. We know that Sony has that sort of covered, but
I'll say
offer
VR.
anything new.
I'll say VR also.
Okay, well, fair, but like with Nintendo, the Wii was a generational leap, right? The Wii U was trying to be, it wasn't. But the Switch is a generational leap. It's not about the graphic. It's about the way that you play, the way that you game. And I don't feel like Sony's changing that with this.
Well, let's think of it this way. Are Sony considering themselves comparatively against all of the other companies and their consoles, or are they just talking about their own generational leap from, PlayStation 1 to 2 to 3 to 4?
I think it's just
that could be true. I see what you're saying, Brian, but they didn't show me anything today that felt like a generational leap. All of these games that we saw today, those could all be PS4 games for all I saw.
Absolutely.
There are some things that I... sorry, go ahead.
Well, just to bring up another detail, something that we don't get to see in these presentations is load times. And that's one of like the biggest things that they're touting for both Xbox and PlayStation coming up is, their ultra fast custom SSDs, which, are essentially cutting load times to nothing. I mean, how many times have you, launched a PlayStation game and you pick up your phone because you have enough time to scroll, 2-3 minutes worth of, social media or whatever else, because you're waiting, or between respawns, if you die, you got to wait on that loading screen again. Now, this generation is cutting that out almost entirely. So I think keeping you immersed in that gameplay is going to feel like a huge jump, and I don't think we're going to realize that until we touch it.
That's true. And I was just going to say, something to that effect when I totally interrupted you. There are some things that would make this generation seem really cool. I don't know that they're necessarily like the biggest generational leaps, but things like, okay, if I need to download a game to my digital PS5, how long is it going to take me to download a 50 gigabyte game? So can I download SD assets in like a 10 gigabyte version of it and play it while you're downloading 40 gigabytes in the background? Can I start this game while it's downloading? That would be awesome.
I just don't think that's a priority for them, right?
It has to be. If they're doing an all digital edition with 50 to 60 gigabyte games, it's ridiculous.
Yeah.
I mean, Xbox and PlayStation both currently do that, where, you've got the progress bar that's split up, and the first maybe quarter of the bar is how much you have to download before you can start the game. And at that point, you can begin playing it. Yeah. And then it continues downloading or installing off of disk in the background.
Right. I did not know this. My Switch doesn't do that.
Yeah, Xbox currently does that. My PlayStation does it as well.
I had to download all 40 gigabytes of Borderlands 2, and it pissed me off.
I've never noticed that. That must be game specific.
It could be. I think it is, actually.
Yeah.
The other thing I want to say too is if there's one game that showed me like, oh, this is next gen, ironically, was Ratchet and Clank.
Yeah,
shifting in and out of those worlds
exactly.
So fast, like, oh, now you're in this giant open world city, now you're in this planet, now you're in this place, and everything's happening seamlessly. They made this game to show that off, and I really appreciated that. So that is one way
they really ratcheted it up, I'd say.
Oh,
yeah, it certainly wasn't Ratchet.
Now the big question, like we said with price, is the loading time is because of the SSD drive mostly, and with that comes a cost. And the reason why we haven't, I'm actually shocked that the Xbox One and the PS4 don't have SSD drives, but it's because they're just cost prohibitive. Yeah. So it'll be interesting to see what that does for cost.
Very easily install one yourself.
On the PS4 you can.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, but for the cost of the console, I mean, that's your biggest problem. And I think the Xbox Series X will be cheaper than the PlayStation, because I think Microsoft is just going to outweight on the price, and they're just going to cut the price on it. Microsoft has has the money. I mean, they're the I think they're the richest company in the world again. They have the money, and they're just going to undercut the cost because they're in it to win it this generation. And it doesn't mean I don't think they will. I think just PlayStation people are PlayStation people, but yeah, it's going to be.
I think Sony made enough enemies this generation, and if they make any mistakes with this launch, then people are going to jump over to Microsoft. I think people aren't as loyal as you think they are. You have more faith in humanity than I do.
And I really do think Game Pass is going to play a big role. I mean, Game Pass came around during Xbox One, but now when you're looking at a new console and you can start from scratch, you might jump into it. I mean, it's definitely won me over. I never thought I'd have an Xbox. But yeah, I think Game Pass is going to have I mean, because just the value is incredible on that.
Sure.
All right. Yeah. Brian.
Sir.
Question for you now. What does this mean for Nintendo? We've seen presentations from Xbox, not as glitzy as this, more informal. We've seen the formal PS5. Now we've looked at these graphics. We've seen these games. Tonight, after downloading getting my Xbox all installed and everything, I went to go play Xenoblade Chronicles and was like, oh my god! Like I had just finished watching the PS5 trailer multiple times. And I'm staring at my Xenoblade remastered edition and like, this doesn't hold up.
Oh,
so
man.
What does this do to Nintendo as gamers have images of super 4K graphics bombarded on their brains, and then they're trying to, go with Paper Mario or whatever. What happens with Nintendo? Is the Switch okay? Is the Switch in trouble? What do you think?
Here's what it does to Nintendo. Absolutely nothing.
My man.
I think Nintendo is entirely safe, entirely confident in their strategies. They have proven that graphics and pixels and resolution are not the end-all be-all feature that everybody has to have. And somehow they make at least for their first-party titles, they make, some of the most gorgeous-looking games that aren't 4K. And they're just jaw-dropping to look at. And so I think Nintendo's fine. They've figured out how to make such high quality and fun experiences on a console that is, potentially half the price of what we're going to see coming up in, this holiday season. So they've got that huge benefit on their side where, they can hardly keep store shelves stocked with Switches, at least, through this Corona pandemic as well. That kind of spiked their sales there. But I don't think they're going to feel threatened in any way. And what something cool that we're seeing with this generation of Nintendo is, they're branching out and getting so many new partnerships with third-party publishers and getting all these other games that used to be only found on the likes of Xbox 360 or PS3 and even stuff that's now on Xbox One and PS4. They're getting those agreements to where they can port those to the Switch and finding a way to get them running. Yeah, they're not the best fidelity, but guess what? You have them on the bus, you have them on the train, and you have them at lunch, at work. That's where I'm getting some of my game time in now. I bring my Switch to work and play during lunch. So, to have that option, I think is a huge advantage for Nintendo as well. So I think they're going to be fine.
Yeah, definitely. To bounce off what you're saying, Brian, I mean, it's nice to have Doom on the Switch. It's nice to have Borderlands. I'm playing it right now. It's nice to have, BioShock and all those, XCOM and all that stuff. Those are like really nice to have. And I just think that, there's so many dual console households at this point, I mean, all three of us have a Switch and something else, either a PC, an Xbox, or a PS4. And it's just like, Nintendo is happy to take up that second console spot to give you Breath of the Wild 2, to give you Metroid Prime 4, to give you whatever other weird thing they're coming up with that we can't even anticipate because they're so freaking weird and amazing. So yeah, I don't think this affects Nintendo at all. Maybe a price. I'd take a price drop.
That's exactly what I was gonna say. I think they could run into trouble as these games are coming out in 2021 and become pervasive. People have, Switch owners are gonna buy those new consoles, and then they might start to forget. It'll be a little like Jessie moment, from Toy Story 2, and start to forget the Switch because they're like playing these games.
Nice.
I mean, like tonight, I
Nice
was looking at
reference.
Outer Worlds on Xbox, and it's like, oh, I could just play it on my Xbox instead of worrying about how it looks on the Switch. But I think the price drop would be the important thing, because I think the people who don't have a Switch, if you can drop the price of the regular Switch to $200, and I don't think Nintendo will go to $200 next
it'd be
year,
$250.
but like say $250. I mean, just think of it like somebody who has never bought the Switch, and they go, oh, I can that'd be my portable device. I'll grab Breath of the Wild with it, and boom, off they go. I think that's going to be how Nintendo sort of like skates by. I just get worried when like next year at E3 we see Metroid Prime 4, and you're looking at it, and then the next booth over has whatever game on a 4K screen looking amazing. It's gonna be tricky for games like that. That's what Breath of the Wild will never have a problem, but Metroid, boy, that could be a problem.
I don't know, dude. I have high. I have a lot of respect for the guys at Retro. They do some amazing work. I mean, Donkey Kong Country Returns, one of the best platforming series, and still looks amazing as a cartoon.
Mm-hmm.
They don't have to make Metroid Prime 4 look like the greatest graphics that ever made. They can very much stylize it as a sci-fi game and make it look good enough.
It does seem like the kind of the game that usually is the most realistic looking, but if they stylize it and do a Wind Waker on it, or whatever, I mean, it's gonna look cool. But I don't know.
I see your concern. As a Nintendo fanboy, I'm still holding out hope that Metroid Prime 4 is going to be a banger of a game.
Yeah. And the thing that does it for me on the Switch really is I play so many of the indie games, and it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter that they're on it. And there's going to be tons of games that are not going to be these incredible experiences on the, we're just seeing these games on a PS5, but there's going to be a ton of games that can be played on any console. So I'm always going to have that Switch and love the Switch for these kinds of games. I'm always going to play Slay the Spire on my Switch, So, I think Nintendo has to be prepared to just kind of call an audible, as early as 2021.
What does that mean now?
Be really interesting.
Call an audible.
Basically change your plans when you see what's going on. Obviously, PS5 sales and Series X sales are going to like dwarf the Switch for a little bit because, nobody has those systems.
Do we have a second on this podcast? Can we have a segment that I just made up right now? I want to know what you guys think really quickly, since, we're going on 2 hours. I want to know what you guys think the next Nintendo console is going to be.
Oh, wow.
What are they going to do next?
Is this a bonus for the bonus episode?
This is a bonus part. This is bonus time. Just real quickly. What do you think? Just shot out of a cannon.
It's gotta be a Switch Pro that has the capability of a PS4.
Okay.
I got you, Dan. Virtual Boy 2.0.
Hey-o, there's my boy right there.
With 3 colors, maybe.
Now made with cardboard. That's good.
What are you hoping for, Dan?
I think you hit it on the nose there, John. I mean, there's still a ton of flexibility with this thing, and as much as I'm a Nintendo fanboy, you're right that at some point Switch games are going to become way too limited in their scope, and they're going to fall behind. Because as much as we like to say with Nintendo, graphics don't matter and power doesn't matter, at some point it really does. So they are going to have to bust something out that is more powerful. Now, as chips get cheaper and more portable in your iPads and your phones, the smaller, more powerful, more energy efficient chips are going to become available. So I totally see a Switch Pro, Switch 2.0, with some added functionality.
Yes. I think any gamer can go with a PS4 or an Xbox One for the next 5 years. I don't think it is the generational change that they think it is. It looks a little better, but really it's not that big. And the gameplay looks exactly the same. So if you gave me a Switch Pro and I could play all the Tomb Raider games on it and The Witcher and all those games and have them look as good as they're going to look like they are now, I'm happy as a clam, man.
Yeah.
Well, one more comment on that, John, too. Something else I don't think that we get conveyed to us very well in some of these presentations is the effect that ray tracing is going to have on some of these games. I could see it a little bit in the Ratchet and Clank video and some of the improved lighting. If you look at the floors, there's so much more reflection off of the floors and textures that they have there. I think when we see that in person, it's going to look even better than streaming it, on YouTube video.
Yeah, that's one thing I'm going to have to look into because I have no clue what ray tracing is or does, and that's just my own ignorance. I got to look it up.
He's ray tracing is an industry guy.
No, he sounds like a friggin' Star Wars character. Don't give me that.
He goes by Mr. Tracing, but no, I totally agree. Like most people didn't watch the video on a 4K screen, so it's going to be pretty cool when like you go in, maybe see a demo station or something like that. It's going to be pretty wild, but it's still not generational. It's a graphical improvement, maybe even a significant one, but game wise, no difference. The games look exactly the same games that we've been playing, and we're not seeing a big shift in what we play. All right, guys, what do you say we wrap this up?
All right,
put a bow on it.
We want to thank the Nintendo Dads for letting us be a part of the Nintendo Dads family of podcasts. You can find us by subscribing to the Dads After Dark Show podcast and all of your favorite podcast apps. We won't even make fun of Dad Crossing this time around.
Thank you, Jesus.
A third of them are here. If you're a Nintendo Dads patron, come hang out in the Dads After Dark channel and let us know what we should talk about next. You can follow us on Twitter at @NDadsAfterDark. Send us a question there and not to our email. I just never check it. Fellas, thanks for stopping by. Hope that was fun.
Heck yeah, dude. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, appreciate it, John.
Got our PS5 in. It's exciting. Well, maybe we'll do this again for the Xbox.
All right, sounds good.
I'm probably out for that one. I haven't touched an Xbox since Panzer Dragoon.
Maybe we'll poach a different Dad Crossing guy.
Yeah,
maybe
let's do that.
Maybe we'll get a better one next time. All right, guys.
You know you love me.
Good night.
See ya.